In today's video, we're going to take a look at a retail package of 25 different uncirculated foreign banknotes. And I found this at a recent coin show. It is a dealer that doesn't specifically deal with banknotes. They had a small number of things on their table which are retail items that I assume that other people produce, but I don't know who actually made this or what it would cost originally to find something like this, but I paid $7 for this. And so all I could see was the one banknote that is on the front when you flip it around. But if nothing else, I like the seeing some of the notes that are on here. I don't know if there's a chance of getting anything that we see on the front of the package. I don't recognize any of them. And I don't have that many banknotes. I have maybe 400 or so in my collection at this point. And so by now I can tell what is the most common, the easiest things to find. And well, let's dig in and see what we've got. I was the one who broke the tape on here just to get us going. And so let's go ahead and pull this out. I wonder what this would cost originally. Like I said, I paid $7 for this package. So let's. That is too much zoom. One moment. The dealer had 3 of these, and I picked the one I wanted based on the note on the front that I thought was interesting. And I thought this one from Brazil, 500 cruzados, seemed to be the most interesting. So let's see what we've got on here. We've got, and I haven't opened this up yet, so I don't know what we've got in here, but we've got, looks like some lily pads. The person here is Villa Lobos, I suppose. And I have a better flashlight than from my last video to look at the watermarks on here. So let's see what we've got. So that appears to be the same person, kind of in the watermark over there. We've got one line kind of going through it that actually appears to have words written on that security strip right there. And of course we've got a lot of micro printing on there, a lot of tiny words. It seems to be micro printing that probably stands for Central Bank of Brazil, I'm guessing. That's kind of hard to see on here. Flip this one over and we have a conductor of some kind. Is this the same gentleman as on the other side? I guess it is. Villa Lobos. Because I don't see any other name on here, so. So I think that's a neat one to start with. This next one is one that I found before, and this comes from a time of Brazil where I think they made everything. You flip it over and it looks exactly the same. So if I were to flip this one over, no changes on it. So it prints everything upside down and right side up. You can already see how it's going to have 2 watermarks that are sort of upside down from each other. So let's take a look at this watermark. And so it appears to be the same person inside the watermark. When I peer in really close, it looks like this is looks like that says Duke of Caxias. But when I saw this note before, I thought that looks to me. I think it looks an awful lot like Tim Curry. And so I guess you can learn a lot about a person by what movie they associate with Tim Curry or what banknote they associate with Tim Curry. So we flip that one around, and we've got another scene that could go upside down either way. So some type of military scene on here. I do think this thing right here is interesting. I don't know if it's something that you're supposed to hold it at an angle. I feel like I once saw some baseball cards that had something like that if you hold it at an angle, you'd see something like that. So 100 Cruzeiros. Did we ever see a date on here anywhere? There is House of Moeda. That might be just who printed it. There's a 10. I don't see a date on that one. But now we're going to come to something that is, first guess is this is Afghanistan, and now that I see that, I see that there it does say Afghanistan Bank right there. 1,000 Afghanis. So I'm guessing that's just a serial number right there. We've got some kind of mosque with a bunch of seagulls or other birds flying in front of it. Of course, I'm not able to read Arabic other than sometimes I can read the numbers. So on this side, I like the scenery on here. We've got just an interesting pattern. We've got some kind of arch. Zoom in on that. Probably some kind of military. The Afghanistan Bank. So yeah, I do like the scene that is depicted here, but otherwise don't know what's there. We're going to move to, let's see, the next one is, this is one of the cheapest things. If I remember, the catalog says that Indonesia 1 sen is worth 10 cents, which is the cheapest it can probably get in there. So I feel like every time I order any bulk lot, this is going to be in there. So before we get to the one from Peru that's staring at us, we've got another one from Indonesia that is not as common, I don't think, as the first one. At least I don't recognize it offhand. And let's see, I guess I see some stylized corn or wheat or something like that on the front, and lots of tiny writing on this 2.5 rupiah. So let's see, that one, the last one was 1964, so this one's a little bit older. And so we've got more agriculture on here, people working the field. If that was United States, I would say that's cotton in blue, but that's probably not cotton, I don't guess. Either some kind of fruit and then wheat to go along with it. So, Menteri Kiungan. So, all right, so at least that's something from Indonesia that I've never seen before. I bet it is still fairly common. We move on to Peru, and let's see, this one has a date of 1988. So 1,000 or mil intis. So Peru didn't use the inti currency all that long. They used the sol for a long time, and then the intis they just used for maybe about a decade at most. And we've got 3 signatures on here. And let's see, we've got really detailed portrait. And there's the Peruvian crest that I'll see on a lot of their coins. And of course we have a security stripe going down it. We've got a watermark right there. Appears to be the same individual. I think the lady in pink right there is kind of a novel feature. This one appears to have more writing on the security stripe, so I can see some letters there. Let's see, so a couple of the ruins of Chan Chan. Printed by Thomas de la Rue. And I guess some cultural artifacts of animals on the left. And interesting Carvings in pink at the back, and then you've got the blue stripe that goes down the side, or down the middle on here. I thought that was going to be, that's just ink printed on there. That's not anything as unusual. So I guess with these notes aren't going to have some of those more modern color-changing ink and features like that, I wouldn't suppose. Yeah, I like the design here. This next one's another very common one, the one that we see from Mongolia. So it's a vertical design. Well, maybe it's not as common as some of the ones. A lot of the ones will feature Genghis Khan on it. This one is a 20 Mongo. The two guys here are, if that was in the United States, they would look like professional wrestlers. It's probably not what they are. But yeah, that's another common one that I see a lot. Now, this next one from Venezuela is one that I'd actually purchased at the last show I went to, and I paid $0.25 for it. So I know this one's not going to be all that valuable, but we do have. What I find interesting about it is they have a design of the 1 Bolivar coin on here, which also features pretty much everything identical to what we see here. You've got the circle, Simon Bolivar looking to the left towards his name, and Liberator written to the right. So that's the way that the 1 Bolivar coin looked like at this time. But that is not the back of the Bolivar coin, although I guess this side kind of is. Has the design that we see on a lot of the back of a lot of Venezuelan coins. I guess, again, that's their crest or shield. Horse, wheat, a couple of small cornucopias at the top, but on the coins you usually can't read the dates on all the words written on the banners at the bottom. Independence in 1810, and then a federation in 1859. So this one is dated 1989. So we're back to another one from Indonesia. Not a surprise that you're going to find a lot of cheap banknotes from there. This one looks to be the same date as that 2.5 that we had a moment ago, but another one that probably is very common to find, but one that I personally didn't have, or at least I don't recognize yet. We've got more people working, I guess, the rice fields. And then when I've been able to read those, when it has that much writing on it, it's probably something along the lines of, don't forge this or you're going to jail. So yeah, a lot of these banknotes remind me of a lot of the FAO coins that I'll see where it just talks about agriculture and especially the people growing it. So if you're going to find something from Europe, well, a lot of the notes in this are either going to be from countries where their currency isn't stable or isn't worth hardly anything compared to the United States dollar, or in this case, some of both of that, along with countries which no longer exist. And so this one is going to be from Yugoslavia, and I have lost my headphones there for a minute. We've got, yeah, I've got a lot of Yugoslavian notes, but I don't have this one. 100 dinar. I do like the look of that one. Horseback soldier, I suppose. Then we've got a date of 1981. So a lot of the ones that I find are newer than that. So this might, maybe this is a time that they're a little bit more stable. We do have a security stripe going through here. Let me shine on that for a little bit. So I don't think there's writing on that, but they've got lines, kind of like a yellowish, greenish stripe with lines through it. Maybe there is some writing down here at the bottom. Yeah, I guess there is tiny writing on that. And of course, Yugoslavia was a mixture of cultures and languages. So it is during the Socialist Federated Republic of Yugoslavia. We've got that in 3 different alphabets, or I guess 3 different languages on here. But over here it looks like we've got 100 dinara written in 2 different languages. We've got our alphabet. We've also got Cyrillic written to the left and the right. I've got a chain of people in a circle around the big 100 in the middle. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out how many languages there are in the middle there. Well, one thing I noticed is it does list a lot of the different cultures. We've got Macedonia, Slovenia, Serbia. Maybe we've gotten that written. Oh, here's Bosnia and Herzegovina. Hrvatska is Croatia. So I guess we've got that written in 2 different alphabets on here. That's interesting to see. Especially when you think about what happened to that country about 15 to 20 years after that. Next up, we've got some British military money. So I had a couple of these. I had a £1. This one is... these are pretty common. I think it's somewhere in here it has a note that it's only has value if you use it at the British commissary. So it wasn't intended for circulation outside of the military. And then on the left I see for use only as detailed on the reverse. So it's a special voucher, 10 pence. And we're going to see if that is when they were already in a decimal system or if it was pre-decimal. I don't see a date on here, but let's see. This note is valid only for transactions within official canteens and organizations laid down in GROs of the theater, except as may be expressly provided in GROs. It must in no circumstances be offered to any person who is not entitled to use the British service canteens. Improper use of this note is a disciplinary offense and may render the offender liable to penalties. And so, you see something like that, it makes me scared that am I going to jail in Britain for having this? These have probably been decommissioned, and I'm sure that no one actually cares. But they had to make it where they don't get out of hand circulating among the wrong people. But it's interesting, but I'm going to bet that's not too valuable. Well, I wouldn't expect anything to be valuable in here if it's going to show up in a lot like this where they cost about $0.25 each. But another one from Venezuela, this one I don't recognize. It's the Dos Bolivares. So it's from, I think, the same year as that one that we saw earlier. But this one is, I don't recognize having this one in my collection. And it's smaller than the 1. So I find that interesting that the 2 is smaller than the 1. So we've got a similar look here to the coin, except it's not actually inside of a circle. As we see their Liberator Bolivar one more time. But it even has the same, I guess that's the artist name who designed the portrait on the coin listed there. All right, so next one we'll go up to one from Afghanistan. This one is one that I think I had. Features a hydroelectric dam on the front here. This one's going to be 100 Afghanis. I do see now that I'm close up here, I do see a security stripe going down through there. From here, it looks like it's a white stripe. Well, I guess I can see a black line going through it also. I was trying to figure out what that thing was right there in the middle, but like I was wondering if it was a person from afar up, but I guess not. So I'm guessing that's just a serial number printed on here. I don't see a particular date, although there might be a date up here. 1939 is probably when they formed as a country and not the year on this note. The year would appear in here somewhere, I guess. We've got another farmer working the field. Another of these inexpensive tin sen. So yeah, I've got a bunch of those. Back to Brazil, and I feel like this is one that I saw on the front of the packaging on here. This, well, the one on the packaging is a little bit more colorful. No, it seems to be the same as this one. So, 200 cruzeiros. So 200 must be their word for 200. Republica Centenario, so I guess that's the centennial. So maybe this is a commemorative. Issue. So what do we have in the watermark here? Appears to be about the same face that we have in the middle of the note. We've got that security stripe running through here. I do find this part of the note pretty interesting, probably for generals or military leaders or political leaders. And then these faces are always creepy when they don't have eyes on them. So it's interesting how this one has kind of a blue stripe that kind of goes diagonally through this picture here. So I wonder, as an American, this reminds me of a scene that would be Betsy Ross designing the American flag, but of course this is in America, so that's not Betsy Ross. So this must be the Brazilian equivalent of Betsy Ross, because it does look like she is sewing a flag on here. Actually already attached to a flagpole, laying on that chair. Patria. That's pretty colorful. Next one's going to be another one from Yugoslavia, another one that is a little bit older than the ones that I find all the time. This one is dated 1978, 50 dinara. Looks like, what I like about this one is they have designed it in such a way that it, just lying flat, that has a 3D look to it, in my opinion. So I wonder if that is a replica of a statue, or I should say statues, of these two individuals. Mistrovic over there is a name. If I can now I look closer, it looks like one of them might be playing a harp, the one in the back. Three different languages on this side. So this one's a lot like the 100 except it's 50 instead of 100. So I like that one. We're back to another one of Indonesia that's pretty cheap. So this one looks very similar to the others that we've seen of this time frame, except it's the 5 cents. I think we had the 1 and the 10, and here's the 5. So I usually find all three of those bundled together. But we're back to another one from 1,000. Brazil 1,000 cruzados. This one has a stamp on it. I'm guessing this was added later, so for several decades, the Brazilians had some inflation issues and their currency changed over a lot, and so this time, instead of throwing away all the notes, they just put stamps on it saying that one new cruzado is worth the same as 1,000 old cruzados. I'm guessing that's what the triangle is on here, because that looks like that was stamped on it or printed on it and looks newer than everything else on here. But we've got a portrait of Machado de Assis. We've got a quill writing on a book. It has the name of the president of the National Monetary and the National Central Bank. Deus Seja Louvado. Must be the same person in the watermark. It looks like it. Looks like the same person. Another security stripe going through here that has writing on it. So if that's letters, it's really hard to read what's on that security stripe. It's either, I guess it is really tiny. There's 2 lines of it saying the same thing. But I wonder what is written in the background on here. So it looks like it's somewhat on a scroll. I find that one interesting. We've got a street scene on the back. We've got the same quill and book without signatures on this side. So we've got the streets of Rio de Janeiro, March 1st, 1905. But I find it interesting how the color changes through this. Got almost a dark blue or purple on the left, and then about a dark gray in the middle, and then kind of brownish on most of the right. A yellowish sky. Got all these colors down here. I guess that features some micro printing also. Just a lot of slashes. I think we saw that logo on another Brazilian note. All right, so I like that one. One more from Indonesia that we don't really need. The 25 sen this time, so that's the 4th out of this 1964 series. They all pretty much look about the same. And we're back to Brazil for another one. This one has a wishbone on the right. I guess that's what that is. 5,000 or 5,000 cruzeiros. Carlos Gomez. And what do we have going on right here? Okay, so the guy in front is works with a bow and arrow. So is this watermark going to be the same individual here? No, we have the, that looks like the Liberty Head design that we had on one of these earlier notes. I don't think that's, it's got some wild hair, perhaps, but I don't think it's the same individual as Carlos Gomez on here. But this one, we've got a piano. Is that Carlos Gomez again? We only had a conductor earlier, so I guess it would make sense that if they're going to have music on here, and look at the back of that wall back there, has a lot of writing on it. That kind of reminds me of the United States $5 bill, where it features the Lincoln Memorial, and it includes a lot of the writing that the Lincoln Memorial has on it. So I wonder what this shield and crown represent. There's that wishbone again. I wonder if that, I guess that kind of lines up through the, I guess that light's not going to really show us anything on that, but yeah, I like that design. Our next one from Indonesia. So you've seen one, you've seen them all. I guess it is interesting how they have the military name kind of written right here of who's ever on here. That's the 5th one of these. So this reminds me of the British banknote that I already had, the 50 pence issued by command of the Defense Council. Also, I think the other one is 6th series also. So this one's set at 10 pence. This is 50 pence. These are pretty easy to find. And then, not our last one, but we're getting close to the end. We've got one from Peru. This is our second one from Peru. This one's 50 intis. And then, let's see, Nicholas de Pirola. I want to take a look at some of the micro printing up here. We've got that again. This thing right here is interesting. Wonder what that's going to be. And I guess that's just a design. It's not actually words or anything like that. Or do we have some... What's in the green on here? Looks like the number 05. What if I hold it like this? It says Peru. 50 Peru 50. That's kind of a neat feature. So here, I guess we have someone working the oil fields, I guess. And look at this watermark. Let's do that. I also didn't notice the date of 1987 a moment ago. That has the same goatee as this guy, so it's going to be the same person. Or maybe that's something military. We've got a helicopter in the background. See, I see an oil derrick in the background. That's what made me think it was first. They're wearing... I guess they're not dressed like military people, so they're working like, I guess, workers. Although it's not a machine gun, is it? Over there. Well, certainly they're working with heavy equipment. We've got that symbol, but it's a different color on this side. Okay, we've got a couple of tiny banknotes here in the back. This one is, if I remember, that's Cambodia. No. Maybe? I know I've seen that before. Has the Soviet hammer and sickle, so... I'm thinking Cambodia, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's Laos, but I guess it could be. We've got a classroom scene. Looks like maybe teaching world geography. I do like the intensity of the color on here. Almost makes it look like a kind of radiant look here behind this symbol. Spots where it gets darker to lighter. So that reminds me of a military parade. But I don't recognize the flag. All right, our last note is going to be, if it's going to say 50 pious, I believe this is going to be Myanmar or Burma. And maybe that's a boat, maybe? With a, well, down here's the shape of a boat, but it's got this long tail on it. And that confirms that it is from Myanmar. All right, so now we've gone through all these notes. One thing I like to do is I do have a blacklight here, and I'm going to take a moment. Since all these are low value, there might not be anything on here that has any features under a blacklight, but if it does, I'm about to find out, and then I'll let you know. So here's the one from Peru, and it's got some threads that are only visible under a blacklight. So you see that one right there. Take that light away, and you don't really see it. You've got some other threads like that one right there that are visible just under regular light, but then when you hold the black light up to it, there's some other threads that can only be seen in the black light. This one from Brazil, it seems to be the same way. Another one from Brazil that doing the same thing. But here you can see the threads that only glow in the black light, not others that can be seen under regular light. I get to the one from Yugoslavia. It's got some more of those threads that are only under the light, but their security stripe also glows under the black light. So here's a feature that I was really looking for. So this is the Afghanistan 100, and you look right here, you don't see it, but I shine the light on it. We've got 100 written on here. That's pretty intense light on here. So we've got it in 6 different places. We've got, that one glows pretty good. We've got the 100 in Arabic right there. I guess I should say 5, but 100 and then another 100. And then here it's kind of like the outline of 100 shaded or made out of little dashes. So that's a neat feature, and you can't see it at all under regular light. This Venezuelan note does it also. Got a 2, and then a dos, and then another 2. We have it on both sides. Nothing on the other side on that one. We're going in reverse order, so we had another Yugoslavia note here. The first Yugoslavia note, the 100, also has a color-changing stripe on it, where you can see whatever is printed on the note on here also. A moment ago, I thought I saw different colored fibers, so we see these like yellowish ones, but I thought I saw some pink ones also, but I guess maybe I didn't. But it does have more of these stripes, or these glowing fibers in it than some of the other countries we've seen. Just as a contrast, the one Bolivars does not have the words. It does have some of the fibers, though. The Peruvian's another one that has a lot of fibers in it. So the 100 Afghanis note did have the 100 all over it, but the 1,000 does not. I flip it over and I don't see anything on this one. And back where we started, the Brazilian 500 has a little bit of these fibers. Hope you enjoyed this. I did for $7. I thought this was certainly interesting and worth it. I am not I don't specifically collect international banknotes. I just find them interesting and pick them up whenever I find them for a good price. I'm more of a foreign coin collector, and so that's what most of my videos are going to be about. But I will have a playlist here at the end for banknotes if you'd like to see more of these or more of my videos on this kind of thing. All right, I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.